Uh, yeah. Oh my. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Level Up Lando, the show that takes you inside the struggles, the trials, the tribulations, and the occasional success. That's the everyday challenge of my life as I pursue my never ending effort of trying to level up. I'm your host, Landon Like a Plane, and I'm coming to you from Truscott Studios, also known as my bedroom, right here in Aspen, Colorado. It is Monday, April 7th at 1:30 a.m. Welcome to our first AM midnight early morning edition. I am fired up. I think I've officially leveled up, like officially. I'm laying in bed trying to go to sleep. I got a big job tomorrow. I'm about to get into all the details of that, but I can't fall asleep. I have too much like adrenaline and excitement, and I thought that I might as well record a podcast to try to convey what's happened here. My goodness, I'm just still reeling a little bit. I just closed a $2,500 contract with a client who found me through my website and needs me to do some videography for them on a couple of mobile home parks that are in Basalt and Carbondale. And I am feeling so blessed. I'm feeling so it just all of the effort that I've put in is finally paid off. Like everything, it's coming together, and I, I'm not exactly sure how to handle it or deal with it. They say that opportunity is where luck meets experience, and man, I am really happy. I'm buzzing. Like I feel like it feels like the world is a simulation. It feels like you can do what you want in this life if you just go for it. And that when you do go for it, that eventually the universe aligns, and that's what just happened. I've had all these little kind of um, like hits of the universe helping me and kind of synchronizing with what I'm trying to do. But I've just come through an emotional and energetic experience where it became very clear to me that this is the big one. I'm going to try and collect myself real quick here because I want to go to bed. And I started this podcast with the intent of trying to let it all out because I was like, fuck, if I'm just going to lay here and think about this shit, I might as well just talk about it. So let's back it up a little bit. Today's Monday, but it's really Sunday. Sunday, April 6th, and it was buttermilk closing day. I've been working for myself for almost a year in May, and it's been hard, really, really hard. And when I say hard, I mean I don't have any money. Working for myself is not hard. It's great. It's awesome. But the process of trying to make money is hard. I've been trying to like I created a business where I'm an aerial videographer, I'm a drone pilot, and then I've been trying to make money doing that. But the problem is that I don't have any clients, and so the clients that have had are the very few little hits of the universe helping me. This is what I mean when I said, like, I think if you just go, like, there's that part in Indiana Jones in the Temple of Doom when he has to take the leap of faith, and there's the like cavern, or like there's like a gap between him and the cave that he needs to get into, and he knows that he just has to step out on into the abyss. Like you have to like jump and just trust that it'll work out. And I believe that when I started a business, that's what I did. I took the leap of faith. I finally like got out from underneath the 9 to 5 and working for other people, and for so long in my life, since I was 18 years old and I had to start working and like paying rent, I didn't know how to generate money. I didn't know how to like create money. So if you don't know how to create money, you got to go work for somebody else. Then they give you the money. But that sucks because you have to trade your time for money. And that's largely due to the fact that you can't create it. But if you can create it, everything's different. So from 18 to now I'm 42, I've been working for other people, and it never felt good. It never felt right. It always felt like I was getting the shitty end of the deal, and that trading my time for money was so valuable to me to keep my time. And I hated it. I hated it. And now it's been almost 1 year. It'll be a year in May that I haven't had to work for somebody else. And this year has been hand to mouth, barely making it. I mean, when I say barely making it, I mean I can't afford my rent. So it's like, if you can't afford your rent, then you have to go get a job. So I barely have been able to pay my rent every single month for 11 months. And every single month for 11 months, I've been trying to figure it out and make it happen and do what I do as far as being a drone pilot. But there isn't money. There isn't a client. There isn't people who are paying me to do what I want to do. I have to make that happen. And in the process of trying to make that happen, there just hasn't been anything. I mean, so the process has looked like starting the business, which involved, buying a business license in the city of Aspen, and starting an LLC, which I haven't actually even officially formally completed. I started to do that, and my accountant told me to not do that and to be a sole proprietorship. And there's like a lot of like um, just legwork and kind of foundational stuff that you have to do to start a business. But it's not too hard. It's just like paperwork and stuff like that, kind of. So I did all that, right, and then I built a website, and I built it myself, and I got a couple of clients. I got a friend of mine to hire me, and then I got this another friend of mine to hire me, and then I got a friend of a friend to hire me, and then I finally today got my first real client. And the way that I got my client was through the website. And I negotiated a deal, and I gave them a really good deal. I should have charged them $4,000, and I only ended up charging them $2,500. But I closed the deal. And suddenly, for the first time, I'm in a position where I still don't have any money. I still don't have any money. I mean, my account's not negative, so that's good. That's good. I have a couple $100, which is for food, you know. Um, and when I say a couple hundred, that's literally, I think I have $230. And so to close this client was massive. To go from $230 to 2,500 is a big deal. And then on top of that, I have another client that I was working for before who wants to pay me for some videos that I've already created. So now suddenly I'm like jumping from like $200 to like, and I don't have any of this money. It's all, theoretical, but it's right there. I've closed the deals, and soon it'll be in my bank account. But 2,500 bucks, and I can feel that I'm like starting to live into my potential. This week has been a crazy week. I mean, I so another thing that's happened is I created a situation where I can write for the newspaper here in town in Aspen. And I've been using my ability to write, which is apparently a skill, to convey stories, to tell stories. And so I got to go to this movie fest. We had the Aspen Short Fest this week. And my friend Troy invited me to go to that. And I went with him. We got to see all these short films where you see, I saw 8 films, and each one of the films had a director and had a cameraman and had a producer, and there was an assistant director, and the money that went into each project. Some of them were animated, some of them were live. And then I went to this after party after the festival was over and got to talk to a bunch of the people there. And it was really incredible to hear their stories, to hear how they put all this time and effort and energy into their projects just to create a video, a movie. And that's what I do. And so I really just resonated and related with that a lot. And then I wrote an article about it. And then I went to this thing called Freestyle Friday on Friday. Today is Monday. Well, it's Sunday. And so that was really cool. I got to meet this guy who, well, so there's a bronze medal skier named Alex Ferreira, and he creates this alter ego called Hot Dog Hans. And I got to meet the guys who film him, and they create these really cool YouTube shorts that are really funny. And Alex is a really good skier, so they go and they get really fun footage of him and make cool videos. And again, that is what I do. And then I wrote an article about that. And then today, well, this weekend, I got an email from this guy who wants me to go shoot video for this mobile home park and was asking me if I could do it in a tight time frame. And I told him that I could and closed the deal, and we locked it in today. And now that I've like literally manifested money out of nothing, it's starting to feel like I'm leveling up, like I'm reaching my potential. And again, a big part of this whole thing for me is, I mean, I definitely need the money. I want the money because I got to pay rent. But when I get to where I'm really trying to go, which is lots and lots and lots of money, I don't need the money. I mean, listen, look, you guys, if you watch this show to any sort of capacity, you know that I can get by on nothing. And I have, and I do, and I will continue to, because if you don't die, you got to figure it out. And that's what I do. That's what I'm good at. However, it's really, really, really hard. And now it's starting to get easier. And now I'm starting to level up to a point where I'm able to access my potential. I'm able to access. And so, what is my potential? What am I here to do? What am I here to, contribute? And in that way, what I was laying down thinking was, I'm a few things. I'm quite a few things actually. I'm a writer. I'm a speaker. I'm a videographer. Which, whatever, those are skills. But really, what I am is I'm a healer. That is really what I am. I'm a healer and I'm a connector, is also what I am. I'm a healer and I'm a connector, and I like to be of service. I like to help. It feels good to help. And I'm good at it. And that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to help. I'm here to heal. I'm here to assist and bridge and make connections and link people together and help make the world kinder and more full of love, is sort of what I see my mission here on earth. And in that process of the cool part about being a healer and being somebody who helps and being somebody who is of service and of contribution is that none of that stuff costs money. And so I can do all that without any money, which is what I do. That said, when you start to have money, you can scale the level that you do it at. You can rise to a point where you're really making a difference. You're really making an impact. And that's what's got my adrenaline going. That's what's got me like up and recording this podcast, is that I can feel I'm rising in a way where pretty soon here I'm going to be in the position to give my money away and help and connect people, and the way that my brain works and the way that like my just natural disposition is, I remember people's names. I remember people who have impacted me and made a difference in my life, and then I turn around and want to go contribute and help those people. And through helping those people, I meet other people. And it's this really incredible process of like giving and receiving. And closing this deal tonight and just feeling the pride and the joy of success and winning and having done it. Like I did it. I started my company. I built a business. And tonight it's officially like off the ground. I've been trying to get it off the ground, and it's been so hard. And there's been quite a few times where I've thought maybe I need to abandon the mission and go get a job and work for somebody else and stop doing what I do. But there's something truly incredible when you work for yourself, you get your time back. And so this year, today was day number 97 snowboarding. I bought my own ski pass this year, which I've never paid for a ski pass ever in my life, ever. I've been snowboarding for 20 years, not in a row, but since I was 26. And I always worked to get a free ski pass because they're expensive. The pass this year was $2,800. And I bought it. And then I filed my taxes and I got to write some of that off because it's a work related expense. So now I've got my time back. And when I have my time back, it's really interesting to see, how do you use your day? If you don't have to wake up and go to work because you work for yourself, well, then what do you do? And that has been a very interesting process. It's been a very interesting break from the normal 9 to 5. I don't set an alarm. I wake up whenever I wake up. I go snowboarding every day, or almost every day. And I just let the day sort of come to me. I'm definitely happening to life, but rather than going and like being busy for no reason, doing busy work and just, whatever, sweeping the floor that I've already swept because there's nothing to do and I'm getting paid $15 an hour to do that job. That's what I do. But now I'm making like $150 to $300 an hour and more than that, even doing something that I love to do. I get to fly a drone and take photos and videos, and closing this deal tonight helped me to like feel comfortable in the idea that I'm earning what I'm worth. And it feels so good. It feels so good to make $150, $300, $500 an hour. And not only that, I have all my day. And so, part of my day, I go to the mountain. Another part of my day, I go to the gym because I like going to the gym, but I never had time to do it. It was almost you trying to squeeze it in around a 9 to 5, and you're tired, and you're supposed to work out, but you don't want to because you're tired. And so now it's like I'm not tired and I'm excited, and it's a part of my day. And so I'm physically in a pretty tip top shape, and even though I don't have very much money, the little money that I do have, I try to spend on really high quality food. That's like my main expense, other than rent, and bills, the basics. Um, I really try hard to buy really high quality food to fuel my body. And when you combine those things, so it's like now I've got my time, now I'm being physically active, then I'm going to the gym, and then I'm eating really healthy. And then in addition to which, being broke, and I have to assume this is why it's been so hard. It's been an interesting journey, but I believe that the reason that I've been as broke as I have been, is that being this broke has forced me to stop drinking alcohol. I can't afford to buy alcohol. And I was buying weed, but I had a conversation with myself a while ago where I was like, what would it take to be successful? What would it look like if you were successful? And when I sat in the silence and I listened to myself, the voice said, stop smoking weed. And I was like, I don't want to stop smoking weed. I love smoking weed, and I smoke weed every day. And the voice was like, well, if you want, would you rather be rich or would you rather smoke weed? And I was like, well, I can do both. And then the voice was like, yeah, you can do both, but which would you rather have? What would you sacrifice to be rich, to have the life that you want? And when I say rich, I'm not talking about necessarily money. When I say rich, I'm talking about having my dream life. And my dream life, I'm already living it, really. That's the truth. And I'm very, very blessed in that way. I live in Aspen, Colorado. I snowboard every day, go to the gym, I eat healthy food. I'm a very blessed man, and it's by design. But at the same time, I'm broke as shit. And it is so hard to be living hand to mouth and be trying to deal with the anxiety and the stress of figuring out how to pay my bills. And so in my mind, if I'm in my rich life, it's the one part that's missing is the money. And as I've fantasized about that, and I've asked myself, well, what would you be willing to give up to have that? Are you willing to stop smoking weed? And the answer is obviously yes. Of course, yeah, of course. And so, but I do believe I can do both. And so then the boy said, well, good, then stop smoking weed, prove it. And then when you get rich, you can smoke weed again. I was like, okay, that's a fair deal. That's a fair deal. So I stopped smoking. I stopped buying weed. I'll still smoke it occasionally if my friends pass me a joint or something like that. But what I was getting at is I have to believe that the reason that I've chosen, I believe that you choose your reality. I believe that you create your reality. And so I keep asking myself, why am I creating a reality where I'm broke? That sucks. And what I've come to understand is that in this particular iteration of it, I've created the version of where I'm broke so that I stop drinking. I haven't really drank in like 90 days. I've had 3 drinks. I drank over String Cheese Weekend. I had a couple of beers with my friends on um, Freestyle Friday, and at the Short Fest, my friend bought me a beer. So I really haven't consumed alcohol in almost 3 months. Whatever, 4 days out of 90, I've consumed alcohol, which what a lot of my but and then switching back over to weed, like a lot of my weed and alcohol use comes from boredom. And in that way, when I stopped drinking and when I stopped smoking weed and I found myself bored, I would work. I would be productive. I would do something that helped further the business and make it go. And it's all those little efforts that have now culminated into this deal that I just closed. Like I said, I launched the business. I have a website, and through the website and through having multiple clients already, I've learned how to now create like a QR code that lets them access my PayPal account so that they can pay me. I learned how to create invoices. I've learned how to negotiate what it is I'm trying to create and get real specific about what my clients need. And that has all been part of the educational learning process, that the only way that I would learn these things is by going down the road, coming back to that Indiana Jones analogy of just taking a leap of faith and stepping out into the abyss and potentially falling to your death. That's what he does in the movie. He steps out and then the invisible bridge appears. And I feel like that's what's happened. I feel like that's what's happened today. I feel like, unfortunately, I feel like I stepped out and then fell. There was no bridge. I've just been falling, but falling isn't dying. And so I've just been falling and falling and falling and falling and falling. And then I got caught. That's what it felt like. That's what today felt like, is I took the leap of faith, and there is no bridge. There is no support. And you just take the leap of faith and you fall. And essentially you're falling to your death. Except that until you hit the ground, you're not dead. So there's the fall. And that's what the leap of faith is about. The leap of faith is about the fall. And trusting that even though you're falling, you won't die. And I'm very good at that. I'll admit, I have a very high risk tolerance. I've traveled the world. I'm really good at like heaving myself into the unknown and just trusting it's going to work out. And I definitely did that with this thing, but until it works out, you just don't know how it's going to work out. And I still don't know how it's going to work out. This is one client, guys. I'm not rich by any means, but there was something about negotiating the deal, closing it, creating the invoice, and sending the QR code so that they can pay me. Tomorrow, it's 2 a.m. now. I can feel myself starting to get tired a little bit, so I'm glad I got out of bed to do this because I was just laying there like jacked with adrenaline. And like, man, I'm too excited to go to bed. So what's nice is that tomorrow will be one of the first days in the last several that I'll take off from snowboarding, or maybe I won't. Maybe I'll go snowboarding in the morning and then go do this job. But my point is I can sleep into whenever I want. So even though it's 2 a.m. and even though I'm tired, if I sleep till 8 or 9 or 10, okay. And then I'll get up and I'll drive down Valley and I'll go get this job done and shoot the shots I need to get and create this content for my client and get it to them. And I'm being paid a lot of money to do it. And it's worth my time. It's worth my effort of going down there and doing it. And that then having my whole day to myself to be able to do these kinds of things is truly, it feels a lot like when I was traveling. It feels a lot like the freedom that I had when I was walking around in Thailand or Cambodia or Laos or India, South Korea, Central or South America. And when you wake up with your day, I had enough money. That first year that I traveled, I had enough money to travel for a full year without working at $33 a day. But I had enough money to, if I spent $33 a day, I had enough money to travel for a year. So every day I would wake up and just be like, what am I going to do today? And I'd be in Thailand. And I had $33, which, then you got to adjust because you got to pay for a bed. So that was between, $5 and $15. So let's go on the high end, 15, let's call it. And you got to eat 3 meals, but the meals were pretty cheap. Let's call it like $3.50 a meal. So there's another, what, 7, 10, 50. So that's 25.50. So I had $8.50, $8.50 left over. So it's like the bed and the meals were covered, and I had $8 in my pocket to do whatever I wanted to do. And I would walk around in Thailand or Vietnam and go do something awesome. Go to the beach or, go hang out with some friends and play games and just spend my days the way that I wanted to spend my days instead of trading my time for money. And it felt like freedom. It felt like I was following my heart. It felt like for the first time in my life, I was finally doing what I wanted to do. And then I came back into the real world. And while I had that experience and I kind of chased that experience for a decade, I was always working for other people to try to subsidize it. And ultimately, I ended up here in Aspen. And it's been 10 years living here, working for other people to get to this point. Where I just got to, where we have leveled up. We did it. I created a website. This random person found me through the website. They contacted me. They asked me for my services. I hit them with a high price. I told them my prices were expensive. I know I'm expensive. I know what my value is. I know what my worth is. And I'm not really willing to compromise on that. So I tried to charge them $4,000. I was like, listen, my day rate is a $2,000 day rate. And they have 2 different sites that they want me to go to. And so I was charging them $4,000. That's $2,000 for two. It's not a day rate. It's a project rate, is what it is. It's a project rate. So they had 2 different projects that they want me to do. It's $2,000 a project, $4,000. And he came back and he was like, it's a little too expensive for us. Is there anything that you can do to help us out? He's like, we don't really need editing if that helps. And I was like, okay, that does help. And I was like, are you using this for marketing? He's like, not really. It's for internal purposes. It's like, okay, cool. Then I don't really have to edit. So that's great. And that saves me a lot of time and I can reduce my fee for you, you know? And so I was like, all right, here's what we'll do. How about we do it? And they want it on a rush time frame. And I was like, I'll go as low as I can, which is 2 grand for both projects. And I'm adding on a $500 rush time frame fee. So it's $2,000 for both projects plus $500 to get it turned around in a quick time frame. And he was like, "This is great. I really appreciate it. This is exactly what we wanted, and we can afford to do that. And so we'll go ahead and close the deal." I was like, "All right. I just want to give you this discount as a first-time customer, but I can't really afford to do this again. So this is a one-time thing, and it's just to win your business. But I'll go ahead and lower my prices so that I can win your business," which is what I did. And I did. I won his business, and he was happy, and they definitely got the better end of the deal. But that's okay with me. That's how I want my clients to feel. I want my clients to feel like they got the better end of the deal. I want anybody who's in a negotiation with me to feel like they got the better end of the deal. I think that that's a good negotiation, you know. And I think that, I mean, there's no question they got the better end of the deal, but at the same time, I feel really good about it. I feel really good about giving them the better end of the deal and being the helper and being the healer and being the connector and being the bridge that I am whether I have money or not. And now finally, I've put myself in a position to actually get paid for that skill. And it's a very cool feeling. It's a very cool feeling. It's an empowering feeling. It makes me feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. It makes me feel like I did when I was traveling, where I'm listening to my heart and I'm letting my heart be the one that's leading me. And it has been so hard. It has been so hard. I have struggled and just struggled and struggled. And I don't mind struggling. I'm pretty good at it. I've had a lot of experience. And so in that way, it has definitely gotten old. I'm ready to be done struggling, and that was the new vision. That was the new. There was the new mindset, and the new shift was, how do I be done struggling? And I didn't really know how that was going to work out. I just knew that I wanted to be done, and so I launched a business and started my own company where I was able to convince people to pay me money in exchange for creating value for them and their company. And that's what I'm getting particularly good at. That's what I'm so proud of myself for, which is why we get a little level up. I like to level up and pat myself on the back. Good job, Landon. You did it, buddy. You did it. Yes. Yes. So, what I'm getting particularly good at is creating value for other people, creating value for other businesses, and then conveying that value. You know, I'm a professional speaker and writer, and being a professional speaker and writer is basically saying I'm a professional communicator. So, from that point of view, negotiating is all communication. And when you're trying to convince somebody to pay you money, it's all about how are you going to get the value for your money. And I think that it was really great to close the deal because that validated that I am of value. And it validated that my value is worth what I believe I'm worth, which is a lot more than $15 an hour. I mean, I'm making $150 to $300 an hour, and that's still too low. But compared to 15, it's just night and day, you know. So I'm feeling blessed. I found myself saying, thank you. I'm grateful. I feel good. That's what I was saying to myself when I was laying in bed before I got up. I was like, thank you. I'm grateful. I feel good. And I think that I I would recommend that you say those 3 words. Let's do it together right now. Say these things with me. Thank you. I'm grateful. I feel good. And let yourself really, as you say those things, let yourself feel what you say. Because if you do say thank you, if you do say I am grateful, if you do say I feel good, and you really feel those things, it's a pretty incredible place that you get yourself to. It's a pretty incredible, like, energetic foundation that you are then able to, like, pull from and cultivate from. In addition to which, I also found myself thinking, apologize, apologize. And I've always had some sort of issue with apologizing. I've always had, like, there's something about apologizing that is, in my mind, it was degrading. Certainly humbling. But from this place of thank you, I'm grateful, I feel good, it's very easy to apologize. And so I've had issues with my upstairs neighbor, Patrick, and I have intentions on going up there and knocking on his door and just apologizing to him for behaving however I behaved that created the rift. And my big sister, I also have a massive schism with and dysfunctional relationship. And I'll call her and I'll apologize. Even though I've already done that before, I'll do it again. And my friend Sean, who got mad at me for talking politics in his house and basically kicked me out of his life as a result of it, I'm going to give him a call. And I don't think they'll answer. I don't think they'll take my call. But I'm still going to call and I'm going to apologize. And there's something very powerful when you let your ego go and there is no ego. And from that place of no ego, you can say, I'm sorry, I love you, and thank you, I'm grateful, I feel good. And so that's this sort of like swirl of thoughts that I was having of like, my role in life is to be a healer, my role in life is to be a connector, and I'm finally living into that potential, combined with I'm being paid what I am valued and what I am worth, combined with the reason that I'm being paid what I'm worth is because I'm creating that value for other people, combined with thank you, I'm grateful, I feel good, combined with apologize. And it was all of those thoughts that have led to this podcast at 2:15 in the morning, where I really do feel like I'm finally at 42 years old living into my potential. I've stopped drinking alcohol, I've stopped smoking weed, I'm exercising, I'm eating healthy food, and lo and behold, I'm finding success. Oh, wouldn't you know? You stop drinking, you stop smoking weed, you eat healthy, you exercise, and suddenly you're successful. Just the shit that they tell you to do to be successful. Everybody's always said it, and you just, it's simple but not easy. And that's the truth. Simple but not easy. And it has been simple. And so, from a simple point of view, I've been able to accomplish what I've accomplished. But as I've told you, it has been so hard. It has been so hard. And I am really good at embracing the suffering. I'm really good at embracing the suck and allowing for my suffering to be the suffering that I choose. And so, in that way, how funny is it that all it took was shifting from one suffering to a different kind of suffering that ultimately is going to lead to the success? And so, I think that's it. I feel really good. I feel thank you. I'm grateful. I feel good. And not even going to read from the Daily Stoic or do the book because this is a 2 a.m. podcast, but I got to believe that the reason that I've suffered the way that I have and the reason that I've been broke was so that I would not be able to afford alcohol. And so that ultimately I would have the conversation with myself where I was like, well, which would you rather do, smoke weed or be rich? And I was like, I'd rather be rich. And then that inner voice was like, okay, then stop smoking weed. And I was like, but I can do both. And it was like, well, then prove it. Just prove it. Stop smoking weed, become rich, and then you can smoke weed again. And I was like, okay, that's a fair deal. So, and that's kind of what's happening, you know. And I don't. And what's been interesting is like when the few times that I've smoked weed, I get way too high because I have no tolerance, and it's kind of uncomfortable. It's not as fun because I'm too high. So, it's just a real interesting experiment with my life and with what I'm up to. And then writing for the newspaper and being of contribution in that way is also just really neat. It's just a really cool situation that I found myself in. And while I was laying in bed trying to go to sleep, but I couldn't fall asleep, I found myself saying, I just really like this game of life. The game of life is really fun. To be a human and to experience all of the things that humans get to experience, from like discomfort and upset all the way to laughter and joy, is a blessing. It's just such a incredibly amazing experience, and I'm grateful. I am grateful to have it. And so I'm gonna go ahead and try and get to bed because I can feel myself being tired now, and I'm glad that I got some of this on film because today was a big one. Today was bacon day at Buttermilk. I got to eat a bunch of different flavors of bacon. And it was day number 97 as I'm chasing 100 days of skiing. And I closed a client from out of state. You know, I've never met this person. And I made them happy. I made them feel like they are really grateful to me for the services that I'm going to provide for them. And all of those things together just let me feel very blessed and let me feel very, um, you know, like I'm contributing. It makes me feel like it allows me to feel like I'm being of service and I'm finally doing what I'm supposed to do. And so I want to record this so that I can get some of it on film because I wasn't going to go to bed, and I'm glad that I did, but I'm tired now, and so I will leave you with this. Reaching your potential requires, it's a mandate, a leap of faith. And a leap of faith requires, it's a mandate, trusting that even though you don't know how it will work out, that it will work out. And that the road will be hard and that you will suffer to get what you want. But when you come through, you will have realized your full potential. And, you know, in a lifetime of 100 years, I think most people don't ever really realize their full potential. Most people limit themselves in what they truly could be because to reach your potential requires that leap of faith, which most people won't ever take. But even when you do take it, which I've taken it, and then I wasn't, I was ready to give up. And I think that a lot of people will give up. They'll take the leap of faith and then they'll pull the parachute and go back to work for somebody else instead of letting themselves fall. You have to fall, and you have to trust as you're literally watching the ground rush towards you. You have to trust you're not going to hit the ground. And that's so scary. So I don't blame people. I don't, if you don't reach your full potential, I don't blame you. There's no blame, but there is a little bit of pity because the world needs you. The world needs you to live into your potential. And if you're too afraid to do it, you're kind of being selfish. You know, there are other people who are counting on you. There are other people who need you to step up and step out and see what the fuck you got. And when you do test yourself and when you do take the leap of faith and then find yourself falling only to be caught by the universe, God, love, yourself, the oneness that is all of us, that's when you finally can then fly. Then you get to fly. When you jump and you fall, and then the ground comes rushing up at you, but then right before you hit the ground, you kind of like levitate and you don't hit the ground. And then you're sort of sitting there like, well, wait a minute. If I'm not hitting the ground, then I can kind of go this way. And you can fly. And when you let your soul fly and when you let your spirit fly and you listen to your heart and you live into your potential, the world is an incredible place to be. The human experience is an incredible experience to be having, you know, when it's not filled with suffering and heartache and stress and anxiety. When you've finally risen above all that, now suddenly you're in a position to give back and help other people reach their potential and follow your lead. You know, it's a lot easier if you're standing on a cliff and your buddy jumps and then he doesn't hit the ground and he ends up flying. Well, and you see that, you're more likely to jump. You're more likely to take that leap of faith. And I believe that that's what I'm here to do. I believe my purpose here is to reach my potential, and then once I've reached it, help other people reach it. Help other people trust to take that leap. And so I've been having all kinds of thoughts about apologizing and trying to make amends with relationships that I've had. And I've also had another fantasy about creating a family reunion and bringing my whole family together because we're only getting older, and some of my family's getting ready to die. They're getting pretty old. They're in their 80s. So we don't have a whole lot of time in this physical form together. And before that time runs out, I'd like to be with them one more time. And so it's when you're in that highest potential that you can create these big fantasies and envision them and then make them real. And so that's what I'm here to do. And that's what this 2 a.m. podcast is about. And that's where I'm going to leave you. I'm going to leave you with the idea that it's really important for you to take the leap of faith and live into your potential because there are other people who are too scared to do it. And seeing you do it will reassure them that they can do it too. And so it's for you first. It has to be for you first. There's no other way. It's a great design, this game of life. But once you've got yourself taken care of, then you can start helping other people. You can start helping the people you love and your community and your immediate surroundings, your neighbors and your friends. And when you're living into your potential and you're letting your light shine as bright as it can, it encourages others to let their light shine as bright as they can. And I think that the world could use a little more light. So don't be afraid to shine. Shine your light. Shine it bright. Live into your potential. Take that leap of faith. If not for you, for the end result of then being able to help people who you love and care about. But you got to do it for yourself first. And it's a lot easier to do it for other people. So that's why it's set up that way. The reason it's set up the way where you have to do it for yourself first is because it is actually easier to do it for other people. And so that's not the way it's designed. It's designed that you have to access your own potential first, and then you can help other people access theirs. So that's what I'm trying to do here for you, is help you access your potential. And if my sharing and my struggle and my overcoming my struggle and leveling up, as I tend to do, helps you, well, then I'm happy to do that. I'm your host, landing like a plane, and I'm taking off.